Welcome to Making IT Work, Deep Creek Center's blog for IT professionals committed to using best practices to provide exceptional value for their business clients.
Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to start digging into the different parts of the customer journey, beginning with the Explore option. In the first podcast, we laid out a broad map for expanding and understanding a customer journey. Now, in this particular podcast, we're going to begin exploring in a little bit more detail each of the steps that you'll take to being able to understand your customer's journey and how that may align with your journey as a service provider. So in the Explore activity within the customer journey, we're really trying to understand two things: what the customer may be looking for and what we as a service provider can legitimately offer. From the customer's perspective, we need to begin by understanding which markets we're trying to serve and which particular customer experiences they are trying to achieve. In particular, if you look at this from a broad governance perspective, most customers are looking to integrate a new service or a capability because they're trying to facilitate some type of outcome they want. Maybe there's some type of particular experience they'd like to achieve. Oftentimes in business, this is more broadly about managing risk or ensuring compliance and conformance with various legal and regulatory constraints, as well as best optimizing their organizational costs and resources. And so in many ways, understanding customers can be done at three basic levels. What does that customer do? How do they go about doing what they do? And do they have a coherent understanding of why they exist, what their organizational mission, vision, and values are, and how that might then portend certain decisions about which types of capabilities they wish to offer their customers? Within any customer organization, we have many different types of stakeholders, each of whom may have their own perception of what value is needed, what types of outcomes are desired, and how we might go about accomplishing those. Likewise, in the ITIL guidance, they introduce the idea of PESTLE factors that are external things that may affect how the organization operates. These may include political issues, economic conditions, social issues, technology capabilities, legal and regulatory constraints, and environmental concerns as well. Organizations usually begin assessing their needs for new capabilities by taking a view very in alignment with the ITIL idea of the four dimensions. In other words, what is happening within our organizations and with our individual people? Do we have the right knowledge, skills, and capabilities we need to accomplish our goals? How and whether our technologies and infrastructure and data services are delivering the organization the capabilities they require? How well our suppliers and partners are aligned? And then ultimately, what the nature of the customer's own value streams are with their own customers downstream, and ultimately how well their organizational processes facilitate an effective use of their resources and deliver the outcomes that they want. The customer may indeed go through some equivalent of a SWOT analysis, looking at their desired end state and then assessing their organization's relative internal strengths and weaknesses and the opportunities and potential threats or risks that they may face that may drive them to act in a particular way. Last and certainly not least, we should certainly consider what this means in the context of broad organizational risk and risk optimization. So all of those factors may drive customers to behave in certain ways, to look for certain types of potential solutions. When they start looking into various providers, there may be certain types of decision criteria that they bring to the table. Does this provider have a strong reputation? Does this provider deliver the products and services we're looking for? Is this provider of sufficient financial strength that we feel comfortable engaging in a business relationship with them? Do they have the organizational background and experience that is going to give me a degree of confidence that they can actually perform for us? In addition, we may also be concerned about various types of existing industry standards for compliance and conformance reasons, or just for risk optimization purposes. Likewise, as a provider, we need to understand something about how we see the markets that we're trying to serve. Sometimes those markets may have certain characteristics of geography, characteristics associated with certain sets of shared goals and objectives, and so forth. Or we may segment based on certain families of needs that different types of customers may have for different reasons, but that ultimately could be grouped together in a way that helps us align particular products and services with a particular need or objective that a particular customer might have. One of the biggest goals that any provider should have is to understand their customers and very explicitly try to understand the nature of the work that that customer is trying to achieve. How exactly is my service a service to them? How is this helping them to achieve an outcome they want? How is this helping them manage certain costs and risks? And ultimately, how is this creating an opportunity where the customer can work with it to co-create value? Eventually, we want to be able to think about all of this in terms of the marketplaces we work in, how we engage with various types of people to communicate offerings about services, to understand customer needs, and to manage potential alternatives, as well as various market spaces, which are largely driven by information and information sharing to be able to ensure that customers looking for certain types of information about certain types of solutions are able to locate them as efficiently and effectively as possible. So before we can even begin engaging in a meaningful way with any customer, we have to start first through an exploration phase. How will customers find us? How will we make ourselves available to them so that when actual engagement could potentially occur?
Thank you for joining us today. Deep Creek Center provides consulting and training for businesses around the world. For more information, visit deepcreekcenter.com.